Hello everybody and welcome to Cooking with Crimbo. Chances are if you're clicking on this video you already know who I am, but just in case you don't, I'm Cody Crim, otherwise known as Crimbo. Today we're going to be cooking pasta. First we're going to start by getting our apron out. This is going to be very important because you're going to be working with a lot of flour. It's going to get really dusty. You're going to be working with eggs. You're going to get a lot of stuff everywhere. Begin by cleaning down your surface. Personally, I like to use Lysol wipes. A good wipe down. Grab some paper towels to dry off the Lysol. This just makes sure that there's no particles or any kind of dust or anything like that on your work surface. It's basically just going to keep stuff from getting into the flour. Now that you have flour and your eggs out, you're going to go ahead, grab your flour, pour it out onto your work surface. And what we're going for here is sort of mountain, right? We're trying to make a hill, basically, of flour. That way we can make a little crevice in it and then crack our egg. Here you see I kind of ran out of flour. That's perfectly fine. What I had out was an adequate amount. After the camera change, because my batteries died, had to charge them for my camera. We grab our eggs back out again and grab a fork. What we're doing now is we're going to go ahead and make a hole in the top of our flour fill. This is basically going to cradle the egg so your egg doesn't just go everywhere. Grab an egg. I tried cracking it open and it kind of cracked a little weird. I've never seen it do this before. The shell actually peeled off the membrane of the egg, so you see me kind of like poke it open just to try to get it out there. I am grabbing some paper towels, just trying to get the egg off my hands. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to beat the egg inside of the little crevice. Every time we kind of swirl it around, do anything with it, we're just going to try and slowly incorporate that flour. Here I am kind of changing the camera because I notice you guys can't see anything that's going on. And coming back to swirl it in. Just trying to get as much flour into it as we can, as fast as we can. You're just going to continue to do this until you notice that it's starting to form a shaggy and kind of goopy dough. So once you notice that it's kind of taking on a form, I kind of take it out a little bit earlier. Don't do what I did here. If you do, it's not a ginormous mistake. As you'll see later, I kind of correct it, but right now it's not quite ready to be handled. It's still very sticky, quite a lot of goop to it going on. You'll notice very quickly that it just sticks, my hand sticks to the work surface, just sticks everywhere. This is because it's not quite to the shaggy dough level. It's still just kind of like a raw egg with a little bit of flour in it. So it's just sticking to my hands, and see I'm kind of struggling with it. If you do this, don't worry, it's not a ginormous mistake. It happens. Chances are this is your first time ever making pasta. So you're going to make mistakes. Perfectly fine. Just make sure you add enough flour to it and you try to get it off where you can. You don't end up losing a lot of dough to the work surface into your hands. So from here, I'm just folding it in on itself, adding more flour as I go. And you'll see me just continuously do this until it's no longer sticky. It's just sort of tacky. So once we've gotten it out of like that super duper sticky phase, we've been holding it in on itself enough, we can actually start kneading it. You see me just trying to struggle to get that stuff off my hands. Change the camera angle a little bit so everybody can actually see what's going on. And from here, you're just kneading the heck out of it. You're going to be kneading it for about 10 minutes or until the dough sort of springs back. You'll see here after a while of kneading, it'll actually do that. Make sure as you're kneading it, you're getting a lot of variation. So don't just knead it one way. Try doing different ways, different directions. Just really work the dough. Try to make sure that if it does stick to the counter, you don't lose too much of the dough. Make sure if it does start getting sticky, like right there, see it start sticking to the table a little bit, just dust it with a little bit of flour. Make sure it doesn't like remain sticky, basically. And anytime it does get sticky, just dust it with some flour, continue kneading. Here I am plopping it out and poking it to see if it springs back. Once you notice that it kind of returns to the original form, after you poke it, you know you're about done. Just give it another 2 or 3 minutes of kneading, not that much. Make sure you're hitting your hands, still dusting the work surface, just so you're not sticking anything else. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and form it up to a nice little ball, and grab some plastic wrap. You can use saran wrap, but personally I like this stuff, this press seal stuff. It's really nice. I find whatever saran wrap doesn't stick to, this stuff really sticks well to. Not only that, it sticks to itself super awesome, so I can really get a good seal, and that's kind of what you want. You want to make sure that there's no air in this. Otherwise, if there is, chances are it will dry your dough out, which is not good, because this is going to be rested. You're going to let it rest for 45 minutes to an hour. Personally, I prefer an hour. Just really make sure that the dough is rested and it has good gluten development and allows it to be rolled out thinner and much more. So let that rest. Once your hour of rest is up, you're going to grab your dough, grab some more flour. I ran out of flour, so just grab a new pack. Go ahead and carefully unwrap your dough. Just kind of make sure that it's not dried out or anything like that. This press seal is really good at sealing, so you see me kind of struggling to open up the bag there. So once you've gotten your dough freed, you're gonna go ahead and grab your rolling pin and dust everything in a good coat of flour, and I mean literally everything. You're gonna be rolling it out pretty thin, so you don't want it sticking to your rolling pin or the work surface or any of that stuff. So go ahead, give it a top sprinkle of flour, or kind of round it out a little bit just to make it easier to roll out. Now what we're doing is we're going to be laminating. So we're going to be folding it in on itself in thirds. See that it kind of sticks there. Just if it sticks anywhere, if you notice it's sticking, just grab some more flour, dust it down. So we're going to laminate it a couple more times, 3, 4, maybe 5 times, before we really start to try and roll it all the way out. Here you can see it kind of sticking to my rolling pin. I really recommend using a wooden rolling pin for this. 1 of 2 reasons. Wooden rolling pins just really hold flour a lot better. This one's kind of like a weird stainless steel one. I don't really know, it's just what I had. and you're just going to be rolling it out. Continue to roll it out. Make sure you flip sides pretty often and dust each side as you go. This is something that I forget to do. Later on, you kind of see what happens. It's not a good instant. So halfway through, I realized that the camera is kind of overexposed. I don't have a cameraman, so everything I do kind of relies on my camera's ability to do things automatically. Here I'm just continuously rolling it out, and you see that I forget to flip it midway through and dust the back. So here I am trying to like desperately peel it off, and I have to do it very careful, because if you rip the dough or mess it up too bad, there's like no going back. You can't just wad it back up into a ball and re-roll it out. But luckily I was lucky enough to get it unstuck and continue to roll it out even. So the thinness that you're going for here is kind of like almost see-through. When you pick it up and you hold it underneath your fingers and you can see your fingers through it, then you know that it's good to go. So here I am rolling the dough onto itself, making sure that I keep the roll tight, but not pressing it down or anything like that. That would cause the layers to kind of fuse together. Make sure that like you're coating it with flour as you go if you notice that it might stick together. And then we're just going to cut it into kind of batons. This is going to give us more even noodles than if we were to just cut it while it was like laid flat. One thing you can do to get more even or more like perfect looking noodles is you can cut off all the excess and just kind of make like a perfect square out of the rolled out dough. I just don't like to do that, mainly because you just end up wasting a little lot more dough, and because it doesn't really matter. They all cook at relatively the same length, regardless of their width. It's just about the thickness of it. So go ahead, roll them all out. Make sure, if you have to, coat them with extra flour to keep the individual noodles from sticking together. Luckily I dusted them adequately enough with flour to make sure that they would all stay independent of each other. And once you're done, there you go. You have perfectly made homemade pasta. Very thin, very nice, cooks very quickly, so make sure if you're cooking this right afterwards, 30 seconds to do it in rolling boiling water. Does not take very long to cook fresh pasta, but for me, I'm going to save this for later, so go ahead and put it into a nest and then just put it into some cling wrap. Going to seal it up and then just put it in the fridge for later. This pasta is good for quite some time. Just remember that it does have eggs, so it will eventually spoil. However, keeping it in the freezer should keep it relatively shelf stable for quite some time. And that's it. That's how you make homemade pasta with nothing but eggs and some flour. If you like what you saw, feel free to like and subscribe. If not, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Tune in next week where I show you guys how to make a nice cheese sauce to go with the noodles.